silver alert for me, bless their hearts. Well, my name is Dave Membrilla. I'm from Tucson, Arizona. I grew up on the south side. Hey, you got some folks from Tucson, right on. All right, and the south side, do you know the south side? Tough neighborhood, man, tough. So tough, the local YMCA stood for your mama's a crack addict. I'm telling you, tough neighborhood, man. Some guy down the street had a yard sale. He sold everything in the house. He didn't even live there. Tough, everybody had a watchdog, and that's still, people are still getting burglarized. But you know what makes the best watchdog? One family had a goose. And this goose would chase you around and bite your ass as you're walking around, man. It was mean. It was a good watchdog. Except around Thanksgiving. Poor kid was devastated, man. He was crying, nobody took my goose. But you know, I remember growing up in that neighborhood, we used to go to Mexico a lot to buy groceries, clothes, furniture, because it was cheap. Even now. People go to Mexico to buy gas. Prescription drugs. You can get prescription drugs cheap in Mexico. But it's Mexico. You never know what you're going to get, right? I was down at Rocky Point. I took my wife. I was going to surprise her. I bought some Viagra. For 4 hours, my arm was like this. I couldn't even pee. My arm was so stiff. But I'm very proud to be Mexican. Are there any Latinos in the house? Latinos, where are you? Right over. Okay, that's enough for a revolution right there. A lot of my friends, my Anglo friends, they say, you're not a real Mexican, you were born here. So that makes you like a Chicano or a Hispanic. And so I decided to combine those 3 words, Mexican, Chicano, Hispanic. So now when people ask about my ethnicity, I can tell them, orale, let me see, Mexican, Chicano, Hispanic, I think that makes me a mechanic. Oh man, just came back from had a class reunion the other day. Woo-hoo, I was excited, class reunion, party on! It sucked. Because I was homeschooled. Freaking sister didn't even show up, man. She was my prom date. No, I'm kidding. We had a class reunion, and I graduated 77 from Pueblo High School, and they found out I did comedy. Now, all the girls that wouldn't date me in high school showed up this night. Okay, they caught me off guard. They want me to start off the show, the pachanga, you know, by doing some comedy. So I was a little bit taken. I didn't know how to feel because all these girls were there. So this was my opening line. Guys, man, I remember when all these chicks were hot seniors, and now they're just seniors with hot flashes. I got even with every one of them suckers. One girl in particular, she was a cheerleader since we were freshmen. I had a crush on her, and I was a band nerd, so I knew I never had a shot. Just as well, because she was dumb as a bag of hamburgers, I swear. Back in high school, she thought the Big Bang Theory was a ride home on the football bus. That's all I thought. Anybody have any nicknames growing up? Nicknames? My dad nicknamed me Squirt, because I was a little guy, I was preemie. Okay, Squirt was fitting. Hey, Squirt, how was school today, Squirt? You want to go to the ball game, Squirt? I mean, it was fitting. Even my friends, because I was a little guy, started calling me Squirt. And I loved going to school, except for that one day in 6th grade when they taught us about how babies were made, you know, that sex talk in health class. Yeah, I didn't know what to feel because I never thought about my mom giving it up to my dad, you know, and the different ways my dad could have violated her, you know. I was all depressed. I was walking home all slow. I was kind of mad at my dad. My dad beat me home that day. I kicked open the door. He says, hey, how's my little Squirt? Dad, you can't call me that anymore. Obvious reasons. Son of a bitch. But I miss my dad now, you know, and I want to get to the age where he was, and most of us may be there now, where you just don't give a rat's ass about anything. You're going to speak your mind. You don't care what people think, right? I mean, that's, right? Are you with me on that? Yeah. His big thing was, he used to like to come to the door and just open up wearing nothing but his underwear. That's it. You know, he just, come on in, son, come on in. And his underwear was older than I was, you know. Holes in his underwear hung all the way down to the floor. Dad, go put some shorts on, Pop. I can see those things. They look like a couple bruised avocados, Pop. Really. And he's saying, oh, this is my house, I can do what I want. And he's walking away saying, wait a minute, weren't you a Star Trek fan as a kid? I said, yeah. Here's the mothership. Seriously, Pop, look, you're dragging stuff. You're leaving a snail trail right here on the carpet, Pop. And now my kids make fun of me because I'll walk around the house in just my underwear. You know, but it was a different time back then. You know, my dad made men out of us boys. I mean, even my sister had hair on her nuts. That's all I'm saying. Clap your hands if you remember having to do chores. Remember having to do chores? Right. Yeah. It built character. You know, you needed money, you did chores. You needed more money, you did more chores. Nowadays, parents will just give their kids. I don't get it. Just give their kids money. I remember one time I asked my dad, hey Dad, can I have $10? His answer was always the same. What do you think, I shit money? that wasn't even an answer, but that was the end of the conversation. You know what I mean? Now kids are smart asses. My son asked me, hey Dad, can I have $50? Just like my dad. I said, what do you think, I shit money? He says, I don't know, but can I clean your ass for some change? I got pulled over by a cop, young cop. And I did everything I could to get out of that ticket. He was a smart ass. I bit my tongue, yes sir, no sir, I didn't want that ticket. The kicker came when he looked at my license and he started making fun of my age. Wow, you were born in 1959, sir. You could have been my father. I said, show me pictures of your mom, I'll tell you. I'm sure I recognize parts of her. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? I've been into that show. I've been watching a lot of Netflix. My Hispanic friends may know this. We finally have our own superhero. You ever hear of that movie, The Blue Beetle?
Yeah.
The Blue Beetle, woohoo! I was excited. They call it the Blue Beetle because nobody come out to see the brown cucaracha. I've been into that show watching Alone. It's that game where they drop contestants off various parts of the neighborhood. Of the wilderness, and you gotta fend for yourself. You gotta build your own fire, build your own structure, light your own fire, that kind of stuff. Kind of like camping on steroids. Anyway, these people eat the nastiest stuff imaginable. They'll eat bugs, insects, and worms, and anything else you might find in a Philly Barrels burrito. That's all I'm saying. One guy was starving so bad, I was watching it. He was starving so bad, he killed a rabbit and he ate it raw. I kid you not, they had to get him off the island. He was constipated, got him to the hospital. I think he died. Doctor said he had a wild hair up his ass. Oh, come on, that's a bigger laugh than that. I don't care what your pronoun is, that shit was funny. My wife, she's back here filming for me. She thinks she's funny. We're at that age where we're starting to forget things, you know, little things. The other morning she woke up mad because she can't remember these people's names, faces, and who they are. And so being the smart ass that I am, I rolled over and said, hi, I'm Dave, your husband. She looked at me and said, what? I'm married? She thinks she's funny. I've been doing comedy for about 25 years, and I told her, you know what, I'm thinking about doing a one-man show. She says, why? Don't anybody show up? That's grounds for divorce right there, honey, I'm telling you. So that doctor appointment that I went to, she asked me, hey, so how was the doctor appointment? I was just checking to see if she was even listening to me, right? So I lied to her. I said, doctor said I could sleep in for as long as I want to, and I should have breakfast ready when I'm ready to eat it. I should have a woman at my beck and call and be tucked in at night. So she put me in a nursing home. But I'm not kidding, man. We're getting to that age. I'm at that, and I see a lot of, it's like 50 Shades of Grey in here. I'm glad to see my people. I'm at that age where acid reflux is a flavor. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? You guys comprehend, huh? Oh, yeah. Man, I mean, you wouldn't think to look at me now. But at one time, I was buff. And now I'm buffet. Your body changes. Man, where are my people? 16 over. Clap your hands if you're 16 over. I said clap your hands when I go. Especially the guys, your body changes. We have no bladder control. I swear I dribble more than the Harlem Globetrotters. That's fine. Alzheimer's, I'm afraid of Alzheimer's, runs in the family. I had an uncle diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Right before he was diagnosed, he came over the house to borrow $1,000. I loaned it to him. What was I going to do with my uncle? He doesn't remember. On the plus side, I've been able to collect 3 times. But I'm serious. When I went to the doctor, I told the doc, hey, doc, I'm starting to lose my memory, and I'm a comic. I can't forget punchlines. I can't forget setups. I can't forget my set list. None of that. What do I do? What can I do? Is there anything I can do for my memory? He says, yeah. Here's what you do. You go to the pharmacist. You ask for some phosphatidylserine, some Hericium arenacearis, some ginkgo biloba, or some Bacopa monnieri. Any one of those will help your memory. I looked at him and said, really, doc? I can't remember where I put my freaking keys. You want me to memorize that shit? You might as well have just said, hey, go to the pharmacy and ask for some. That's what it sounded like to me, man. I couldn't remember that shit. Man, it took me 3 months to memorize that joke. So the doctor, he put me on a diet, and he told me I couldn't, hey, you can't eat no more tacos, tamales, or tortillas. Come on, doc, I'm Mexican. Growing up in my house, lard was a beverage. You know? And so I tried every diet imaginable. I had a gal that I used to work with, and she used to eat and make herself throw up. What is that called? Bulimia? I can't do that. She said, well, try this. You lose weight if you eat naked in front of a mirror. So I tried that. The mirror threw up. The mirror lost 25 pounds. My wife finally put me on a all-protein, no-carb diet. And I was seriously depressed for about 3 or 4 days. She finally came to me and said, you know what, you can cheat. If you need to cheat, you can cheat. I thought, okay, that sounds okay. And everything was fine and dandy till that night I brought my girlfriend home and all hell broke loose. Now I'm the problem. I just want to live. When you're younger, you don't give a shit. You know, you're a gangster out there. You know what I mean? You don't care if you live or die. I mean, I remember having sex without condoms. I didn't care. You know, when you get our age, right? Every sunset, every sunrise is a blessing. You know what I mean? And especially after COVID. I mean, that was crazy, right? People were dying left and right. People got the shots, the booster. They were still dying. You know what I mean? And people got side effects. Like my wife, she got migraine headaches. You know, the gal next door had muscle cramps, leg cramps. I got an STD. I have no idea how that happened. But believe it or not, I've had COVID 4 times since it came out. And each time, even though I've been boosted and shot up and everything else, it always scares me. Am I going to make it? You know, is this it? Because I got diabetes. And I got one of these monitors now that, I don't know if you've seen them. Let me show this to you real quick. It's a monitor on your arm that with your phone, you can figure out what your sugar is. And once in a while, if the sugar's too low, that shit will go off like an alarm, scare the shit out of you. It's like being married to 2 women. But I always think to myself, if I should die, if something should happen that I should die next time I get COVID, who can I trust, being the loving father and husband that I am? Who can I really trust to destroy my cell phone and computer hard drive? That's all I know. If you laughed at that, you're my kind of Christian. That's all I'm saying. And remember the toilet paper? Nobody could find toilet paper. In our neighborhood, we had to go to a bootlegger to get $10 a roll. That bastard would charge us, man. I'm not kidding. So I got smart, man. It lasted a couple of years, the pandemic. Right after that season, where people could find, Christmas came. I saved all the Christmas tamale corn husks. Yeah, you're right. Hey, we may have rashes, but we were clean, man. Okay, so this is funny. Mexico City still has the toilet. No, they really don't. Public places, they have public restrooms. Okay. And outside of these public restrooms, there's a lady that will sell you 3 little squares of toilet paper to go to the bathroom with. That's it. Cost you $0.25. 3 little squares. So I asked her, I said, what happens to the people with big asses? She told me in Spanish, Señor, the asses may vary, but the holes are all the same. I decided, I was teaching at the time and everything was on Zoom, so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna quit doing this. I don't wanna teach anymore. So I started trying other jobs. Like for a while I was a night stalker at the grocery store. At least that's what the restraining order said. I even went and got my bartender's license. I got my bartender's license, and how about a round of applause, first of all, for your bartenders and your wait staff. If they're in there, please make sure to tell them, you can do better than that, come on. They're working here. Take care of them. But, you know, being a bartender, it's fun, but it's not easy. You gotta memorize all the old drinks like the Tom Collins Whiskey Sours and the Singapore Slings and the new ones. And the new ones all have sexy names, like Sex on the Beach, you know, Slow Comfortable Screw, you know, of course, the Blowjob, you know what I mean? All that. And I remember when first gig I had bartending, a girl asked me for a buttery nipple, I showed her mine. But you get to practice making these drinks, man. You get to practice. So I'm at home and I'm mixing them up, mixing all kinds of drinks. Saying, honey, how would you like a screaming orgasm? She says, why, is the pool guy here again? What? And we don't even have a pool. That's some bullshit right there. So I was working at a hardware store, and the hardware store was right in the middle of town where there were all these meth labs. So we had a lot of tweakers come in and rip us off. So one day I kicked out like 3 or 4 of them. Normally they'll just leave on their own, no big deal. These 3 or 4, I had to seriously kick them out, just throw them out. At the end of the night, 10:30, I'm going out to my car. They were waiting for me. Yeah, they surrounded me. One guy had a crowbar that he still had the sales tag. Another guy had pulled a knife that he had stolen from the store. Another guy had picked up a 2x4. And they're closing in on me, right? I had to defend myself the only way I knew how. I threw a job application at them. Okay, that's a new joke. Thanks to you all, it won't be an old one. So I was a school teacher for 40 years. 40 long. Are there any school teachers in here? All right, right here. He knows. We're like Vietnam vets. You don't know, you weren't there, man. And it was my sense of humor that was always getting me in trouble. I was either playing a prank or, you know, accidentally offending somebody. Okay, so we had a carnival. The first gig I taught at, first teaching job, we had a carnival that first month. I was winning at that ping pong game where you throw the ping pongs into the fish bowl and you win the fish. So at the end of the night, I took home like 7 fish in Ziploc bags. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I was a bachelor. I was living alone. So the next morning, I snuck into school early, went to the teacher's lounge, and I put them in the big water receptacle. I wanted to see the look on the teachers' faces when they got that little snow cone-looking cup and they go here and they found out it was me, but that's not why I got fired. I also did this. I was a music teacher. Yes. I also did this. I was pretty popular because the kids liked me, so at Christmas time they would always give me those gift cards. Red Lobster, Olive Garden, some nice steak places. And I would use them up, and I would save the card. The following year, I would put them in Christmas cards and sign from your favorite student and put them in the boxes of the teachers that he liked. Oh, if I could be a fly on the wall whenever they got the bill. You know what I mean? Just, oh, that was just fun. But that's not why I got fired. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So, I had this one little 8th grader that used to cuss me out. He would just cuss me out and walk out of class, not do his work. And the administration would do nothing about it, and I was pissed off. Found out he had a peanut allergy. So I carried around a Snickers bar in my pocket and threw it on his desk whenever he started getting crazy on me. I just watch him freak out. Ah! That's not why I got fired. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. So my teacher friend will tell you that whenever a teacher doesn't show up, they call in sick, we can't get them a sub, we have to cover for them. And it sucks, nobody likes doing it. Okay, so I got this one note, you got to cover 4th period, 5th graders, social studies class. All right, so I get there and there's no lesson plans, it makes it suck even more. So just a note that said, teach them about the 50 states. 50 states. Okay, so I asked the kids, what is this about? Sir, she wants to test us. We haven't even started that chapter yet. So you guys don't know anything about the 50 states? She said, no, nothing. I said, okay, I have it for an hour. What am I going to do, right? The comedian in me kicked in. Okay, so I'm going to come up with a joke, a rhyme, or riddle for each state. You tell me what state I'm talking about. Okay, in fact, you guys can play along like you're part of the class. Let's see if you're smarter than a 5th grader, okay? So here's the first question. When cell phones first came out, which state had the highest cell phone bill? Anybody?
California.
No, not California. No, Texas. Text us. Okay. So now you know how the game goes, okay? See, you guys awe me like it's my fault you didn't get that one. Okay, so here's the next question. Which state sounds like a small soft drink? A small soft drink. Anybody? Minnesota. Right, that's it. Minnesota. And you know, it sounds corny, but the kids, you can see them mouthing it. Minnesota, 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 Minnesota. They're trying to retain the information they're learning. Okay, so what state is a pirate's favorite? Arkansas! Arkansas! Okay, you won't get this one. I promise you, they didn't get it either, so don't feel bad. What state has the largest people? Oh my gosh, Utah! I'm going to leave you with this one. Which state has the most baby mamas? The most baby mamas. Anybody? Most baby mamas? Idaho. Idaho. That's the joke that got me fired right there. I thought it was cute and clever. Idaho. How was I to know that the principal's wife was from Boise? You know what I mean?